Joining us now, former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. Andy, always great to see you. I got up this morning and I read your piece because I want to know what you think, and I thought it was interesting. You said, look, on policy, I think President Trump's got the right case, but when it comes to the law and how the Supreme Court's going to rule on this, I don't know. You watched the arguments today, you listened. What did you make of it?
Well, I just think this was always going to be uphill, Brian. The Constitution really vests in Congress the power to define citizenship, and even in the 14th Amendment, Section 5 makes Congress the body that makes rules and laws to enforce the provisions of the 14th Amendment. And the other problem you have is this precedent, the Wong King Ark case. That's 128 years that it's been on the books without being disturbed. Now, there are people who are trying to distinguish it, and I think there are some arguments in that regard. But what the president was always facing here is, if you have something that's been on the books for over a century, even originalist judges who might be inclined to rethink the original meaning of this provision of the 14th Amendment are going to be backed up by stare decisis, which is this principle that we respect precedent. And then the other thing is the court could be uncomfortable with the idea that the president gets to change this unilaterally, particularly when the executive is not the branch of government that's really usually in charge in this realm.
And the Solicitor General, Andy, was at, and it's not part of his argument, but he was at, it came up in the arguments about, say, birth tourism and that being an issue. Right. And I just was, all of today was just an incredible history lesson based on all the questioning. But based on that, I thought there are other ways to fight, like you can fight birth tourism without ending birthright citizenship. You can fight illegal immigration, which was not an issue during the case that you just cited, but there are ways for law enforcement to handle the issues that this executive order seems to try and tackle.
I think that's a great point, Dagan, because in this kind of post 9/11 world where we've been so worried about terrorism and where we sometimes treat terrorism as a criminal justice problem, I think people get into the mindset that every criminal justice problem is one where we try to eradicate crime completely. And mostly what we do in the criminal justice system is trying to manage crime. We don't expect it all to disappear. So I think if we could get this problem down to a manageable level, just like if you could get, illegal immigration in general down to a manageable problem, then we could deal with this issue and we could deal with a lot of issues in a much more sensible way. The problem is, I think, you get the sense after a few years of border collapse and a long number of years of Democratic administrations that had no interest in enforcing the immigration laws, that things just get out of control.
I think that's the frustrating thing, Andy. Like you can say it's Congress's job to solve a lot of these things, but there's a lot of Americans who are like, well, for decades, the left abused this stuff. And like you mentioned Randy Barnett's piece in the Journal today. I thought it was excellent and just laying out like an originalist understanding of this. But, the court, stare decisis. We don't want to change precedent. And I think Americans are like, well, we're just blocked in at every turn, it feels like. We can't solve this problem. I guess I hear you saying there is a solution, but it's much more piecemeal. And I think that's frustrating. I know you're the legal guy here, but I think that's the frustration people have.
Yeah, well, I think it's even a deeper frustration. And I hear what you're saying. I think the bottom line problem here is, with most disputes that we have, there's some place that you can make a compromise. It may be at the 30-yard line or the 40-yard line, but like somewhere along the line, you can come together. On this issue, I think we have one major party in the United States, the energy and base of that party of which does not believe the United States should have borders and thinks that we should like open the door and let everyone in. And I just think it becomes very hard to compromise with one side that doesn't want to deal at all. They want to do everything they can to frustrate enforcement of the immigration laws. So to the extent people are frustrated, I think because you expect a little bit of good faith negotiation, and I don't see any good faith here.
I was yelling at someone on the phone before this show started about that very thing for 4 years.
Not you, Dagan.
People were dying.
Talking sternly.
The border was open, and those boneheads in D.C. and the Biden administration stood in front of the American people and said, borders closed, no problem here, when there are people sleeping out in front of your house. Andy McCarthy, thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Great to see you.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.